We are spending 24 hours on one of the most famous islands in the whole of Thailand. We'll be checking out what I think is the best area to stay in. We'll be looking at one of its more unusual attractions, as well as checking out what happened to its most famous party. So join us as we spend 24 hours on Koh Phangan. Our day began on Koh Samui, the much bigger and more popular tourist island right next door, where we took the ferry direct from Bangrak Beach, which only takes about 20 minutes to get over to the relaxed shores of Koh Phangan's main port town. Good morning and welcome back to another day in Thailand, where you once again join me from the shores of Thongsala, the main town on Koh Phangan. We just took the ferry across from Koh Samui and we're basically just going to spend 24 hours here and see what adventures we can get into. And I want to kick things off by visiting the most famous part of this island. And it's actually a place that I've never been to before. So let's get on the road and go and check it out. First things first, we needed to find some wheels. And luckily there's plenty of places right near the port where you can rent a bike. So it wasn't long before we picked up this bumblebee looking number and headed east along the coast. Following the road out of town took us towards a once secluded and unspoilt cove that has since become the stuff of backpacking legend. The full moon party of Haad Rin Beach is a world famous event, attracting travellers from all over the world. Believed to have started in 1983 when a group of backpackers arrived on the beach with a crate of beer and a simple sound system, until it grew year on year into a full-blown festival. Something that the locals here have learned to both love and hate. On one hand, it does bring money to the area, but at what cost? During the pandemic, when Thailand was pretty much closed, the future of the party became very uncertain. So what does that mean for Haad Rin today? And how has that affected the locals and businesses in this iconic area? As we pulled into the main streets and parked up the bike, we were reminded right away just what the parties tend to leave behind, and how the locals here always seem to find a way to make the best of it. Just on the way into the beach, there's something really cool here. There's these giant bottle shapes covered in flip-flops, and a guy actually just came up to me and told me what it is, and it's actually made out of flip-flops that were left behind after the full moon party, so as you can see, there's quite a lot. For me, this sort of sight was almost expected, but what I wasn't quite prepared for was just how nice the actual beach is. Well, here we are. This is the iconic Haad Rin Beach. And I'm happy to report that the full moon party is very much back up and running. We've been down in the south of Thailand for about 3 months now, and there have been 3 different parties, each of them getting bigger and bigger each time. I haven't actually been myself because, to be honest, it's not really my scene, but I've seen videos and it does look pretty crazy. Maybe not pre-COVID numbers, but it's getting there. And actually, the biggest surprise for me is that the beach here is actually really, really nice. It's got crystal clear blue water and that powdery white sand. It's much, much nicer than I expected. But the town here is looking a little bit sad. It seems to be a running theme here that the most popular places on certain islands seem to be the most deserted. It's the same over in Chao Weng on Koh Samui. And I know I'm looking at it during the day, so maybe in the evenings more things are open, but some of them are definitely gone for good. But yeah, this is a really lovely place, and I'm really glad we made the trip over here actually. I can tick this one off the list. We're now going to leave Haad Rin and head towards Thongsala, because there's another place I want to show you which you probably won't expect to see on Koh Phangan. Now, it's not uncommon to see expats make their mark with businesses in foreign lands. Especially on a tourist island like Koh Phangan, you can find themed bars all around. But this next place made me do a double take. Back on the edge of Thongsala, tucked away from the typically Thai streets, is a place that is undeniably British. Welcome to the Mason's Arms, Koh Phangan's traditional English pub. A place so detailed that even the most patriotic Brit would think they'd been transported right back home. It was actually based on a real pub in Southampton in the south of England, which has since become a co-op, and I've never seen anything quite like it outside of the UK. Well, this is a bit strange. It honestly feels like somebody's taken a traditional English pub from the countryside and just plonked it down right here in the middle of Koh Phangan. It honestly is so surreal. Even on an engineering level, it's really impressive. Just the detail here is honestly, I really do feel like I'm sitting down inside a pub in England somewhere. So I reckon I should get a pint in. Clearly the Irish in me is also strong because I couldn't resist a pint of the black stuff, which is not always the easiest thing to find in Thailand. First Guinness in a long time. It was good. And of course, we couldn't pay the Masons a visit without tasting the traditional British menu. And they really do have all the classics here, even down to a Marmite and cheese toastie that Emma went for. Before we left, we had another drink in the very British beer garden until it was time to return to Thailand. Unfortunately, in the year since we were last in Koh Phangan, I've been told that the Masons Arms has closed its doors for good, which is really sad news. The fact is that even at this point, the pandemic is still having a knock-on effect for businesses like this. We followed the road north towards a very special place, an area where we would also be staying for the night. Well, we have now left the beauty of the Mason Arms to come to another part of the island, which is also very, very beautiful, but for very different reasons. This is Haad Rin Beach, which is probably my favourite place on the whole island. And it's also a place that makes me feel quite nostalgic. If you've been following this channel for a while, then you'll know that me and Emma went on a year-long trip around Asia just before COVID. And when that trip was ending, we came to Koh Phangan, and this is the area that we stayed in. Some of you may have seen a video I made about leaving Thailand, and it was quite an emotional one. I sat over there on the pier and spoke to the camera, and I really didn't know what was going to happen in my life. I felt very lost and scared about returning to England after spending so long in Asia. So to be back here now once again is actually really strange because physically not much has changed here, but for me everything's changed. I'm in such a different place in my life and I'm very thankful for that. But anyway, enough about me, let's talk about this place. I wouldn't actually say this is your standard tourist beach. Yes, you've got lots of restaurants and bars on the front here, but as you can see, the tide comes out so far that you can actually walk right out into the bay and get these amazing views back onto the mainland there. It's really, really beautiful. And the whole area here and Sri Tanu next to it is just so chilled out. There's so many nice places to have a coffee or a meal. I really love it here. So of course, this is also where we decided to stay for the night, and we've booked a really nice place. So let me give you the tour. Right on the edge of Sri Tanu town, just a stone's throw away from the healthy hippie cafes and their horrible wheatgrass shots, you can find a small resort that makes a very big impression. So here we are. This is our private bungalow at a place called Nirvana. And straight away, I just want to show you the highlight of this place. Straight through these glass doors, we've got our own private deck with some chairs and a hammock. And in front of that, we've got our own private garden with sunbeds that look straight out onto Haad Rin Beach. It's an absolutely beautiful view. And inside the room itself, things are just as nice. We've got a lovely big double bed right in the middle here. And it's just the little touches that make this place so nice to stay in. They've left us snorkels and a kayak. They've got free soft drinks in the fridge. But the highlight for me is this amazing coffee machine. So we can make our own espresso right here in the room. And straight through to the back there, you've got the bathroom with shower. And yeah, it's just a really lovely place to stay. We paid £66 for the night here, which might sound quite expensive, but for this location and such a nice spot, I actually think it's worth it. You do tend to pay a bit more out here on the islands, it's just the way it is. So I'm actually quite looking forward to getting back to the mainland soon. But overall, I'm really, really happy with this place, and this beach is just, it's just so nice. But to see what makes this place so special, you need to wait until the sun starts to go down. It's at this time of day when it's easy to see why this is one of my favourite places in Thailand and probably the whole world. So with these incredible colours in the sky, our time in southern Thailand had come to an end. But the journey was far from over. In fact, it was time to head back to the big city. So join me as I show you the 10 new reasons why I still love Bangkok.